Former President Donald Trump gave a rambling and disastrous answer to a really good question about what he plans to do to help people who are struggling.
How are you going to make the economy not just the the food and electricity, but bring down the rent prices, the housing prices, so that these kids can survive and without their parents' help?
Such a good question, Mr. President.
You're right. I hear it very well. And I tell you, first of all, I love the people that you're with. I know that I must have at least 99, perhaps 100% of all of them. And I think they're incredible. We are going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to bring down the cost of energy. Energy is what caused the worst inflation, I think, in the history of our country. Food prices are up 50%, sometimes more. You look at bacon. Bacon is quadrupled. You can't order bacon. You can't order anything. We're living horribly. We have the worst inflation we've probably ever had in our country, and it started because of energy. We're going to drill, baby, drill, and then we're going to have China and all of these countries that were treating us good when I was there toward that. I mean, it took me a long time to get them to behave properly. All of these countries are going to, again, stop. Like 4 years ago, I could ask you, you were in great shape. You had low energy costs. You had low food costs. Everything was good. You could buy a house. You had low interest rates, 2% interest rates. You had gasoline at $1.87. Now it's $5. And by the way, going up very substantially. But you had gasoline at $1.87 a gallon. Nobody talks about that anymore. Nobody even can believe it's going to happen. It's going to happen again. We've got to get the energy prices down, and everything else is going to be tumbling down with it, the prices.
Okay, that was a mess. Whoa. But look, that question is, once again, a totally legit question. A fantastic question, and Trump's answer was basically, I don't know, drill, baby, drill. Wait, what? Okay, first off, he's basically admitted there that he doesn't really have any economic plan. He's just like, I don't know, drill more oil. Well, hold on, though. Joe Biden has issued more drilling permits than Trump did. We're actually, the United States produces more energy than any other country. Seriously. We have record drilling. All right? Look at the oil production. I mean, seriously, under Biden, it's and this is something that the left, we criticize Joe Biden for. And with all of that drilling, all of that energy production, rents and home prices still went up. So obviously that did absolutely nothing to control the prices of food and rent, and housing, etc. All the stuff that he talked about. So no, doing more of that is not going to solve the problem. So now here's the other thing, right? Gas prices were cheap. He said, oh, gas is so cheap, so cheap. You know why it was cheap back in 2019? In 2020? It's because demand was at an all-time low. People either lost their jobs or were working from home as a result of, COVID-19, that whole thing. At the time, people were too busy fighting over toilet paper and water, the prices of which were also massively jacked up due to corporate greed. There was a lot of price gouging that was happening at the time. So look, the big driver of inflation has been corporate profits, okay? Corporate greedflation, all right? That's the main driver. Now, look, again, during the pandemic, we had legitimate supply chain issues, which did drive up the prices, right? And since then, it's gotten a lot better on that. However, corporations, they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to continue to claim that our expenses are up. Oh, and what are we going to do? We have to raise our prices. No, that's why we have corporate profits at an all-time high, okay? That's the issue, right? According to a report from the Groundwork Collaborative, corporations have driven up more than half of the inflation we've seen since input costs have come down. The report found that from April to September 2023, corporate profits drove 53% of inflation, over half. While prices for consumers have risen by 3.4% over the past year, input costs for producers have risen by just 1%. And for many commodities and services, producers' prices have actually decreased, meaning they are pocketing the difference. They are not passing down those savings to consumers. Corporate profits as a share of national income have skyrocketed by 29% since the start of the pandemic, while our economy has returned to or surpassed its pre-pandemic levels. On many indicators, workers' share of corporate income has still not recovered. It's the greed. Now, let's go to the issue of housing, right? So he was asked, this man was asking about housing and rent. Why is rent so high? There's a lack of supply in housing. For one, the United States has actually built far fewer homes in recent years. U.S. Private home construction crashed before the 2008 mortgage crisis, measured in, of course, total units. Only in late 2021 did it climb back to a pre-recession peak. Now, that said, not only have we not been building as many new homes, but the ones that do get built, investment firms keep buying them up. And that's, corporations, companies that are taking and buying these homes and then renting them out. And they're doing that because these companies expect a continued shortage to boost property values so that they can keep hiking rents. So low housing supply allows landlords to jack up rents. If we wanted to solve that problem, we could build new properties while also ensuring that these investment firms are either prevented from buying up all the real estate, all these properties and turning them into rentals, massively limiting them to how many they can own, or just banning them outright. If you're not going to live in it, you shouldn't be buying it. Something like that. Either way, if you're going to try to fix these real issues that this guy brings up, well, then you have to take on corporate greed, because that's what's behind all of it. All of it. Now, of course, when it comes to energy, you have OPEC Plus that, of course, reduced their output. But as a result of that, the United States increased its output. And so gas prices still haven't really fallen that much. And they're still high because, again, you have that corporate greed factor in there. And so now, when it comes to what they're actually going to do, well, Trump has already admitted, I don't have a plan for that. You think I'm going to take on corporate greed? Trump? No, Trump is corporate greed. That said, am I convinced the Democrats are going to take on corporate greed? Not necessarily. I think there will be some steps to be taken if there is a Harris-Walz administration, for sure. I mean, Walz himself, when he was in Minnesota, he did tax the rich. He did tax investment. And so that's a good sign. That's a good sign that some of those progressive economic policies will be, will be looked at, will be considered. But again, we also have to have Congress. President can't do this on their own. And so who makes up Congress? Well, that matters. Well, unfortunately, we just lost Cori Bush. Cori Bush, obliterated by AIPAC money. Cori Bush is a homelessness advocate who slept out on the stairs of the the House of Representatives in order to push for an eviction moratorium. So we've lost her. We've lost Jamal Bowman. And so that's Congress being replaced by people who were flooded with AIPAC money, which is AIPAC, the United Democracy for America, or whatever. These groups are funded by right-wing billionaires, and so any of the candidates they give money to, they're not going to be in favor of fighting against corporate greed. And so that's one of the big problems here. But as far as Trump is concerned, Trump and Vance, they are corporate greed. They're not going to take it on. And so the only hope that we have into actually solving the problems that gentleman brings up is to elect progressives that are going to take on corporate greed and ultimately go after money in politics and eliminate that. You eliminate money in politics, you eliminate that greed, period. And unfortunately, we are a long, long way away from being able to do that. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.